Well, welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. This week, we're doing Skyfall, the James Bond film. I'm Dylan, and joining me, as always, are Ben, Zach, and Cam.
Hi.
He was so blunt and also forceful about it. Hi.
To kick things off and get everybody in the right mood, we're going to go to this week's cocktail, the Vesper Martini. The Vesper Martini was made famous by James Bond. It was invented by Ian Fleming, and it came in the book Casino Royale, which was published in
That's why he's dead now.
1953.
Yes.
Him and Hemingway.
That's the reason.
If you're an author and you have a cocktail like that was yours, you're
Well, it's not because he made a cocktail. It's
alcohol?
because he made a cocktail, and it's 4.5 ounces of pure alcohol, and that's it.
Yeah, but back then that was like water.
Also, apparently, I read an article about this drink, and they were like, gin was made different back in the day, so that's why they add vodka. Is because apparently gin, I don't know why, but it was made a little different back then when he actually wrote it. So they actually added vodka to I think like maybe harshen it up. I don't know honestly, but to stiffen it up.
weird.
Yeah, you're right, Dylan. That's why he died. That's why he's dead now. Not because he was born in 1908, but because he drank this martini.
No, that was Cam. That's what
I
Cam
said that. I will have
I
you
said
know.
that about Hemingway because he would drink death in the afternoon.
Oh, sorry. However, he did die actually relatively young.
Oh, really?
He died in 1964. So,
The cocktail's named for the fictional double agent Vesper Lind.
Yep. Yep.
Bond uses these strict instructions to make the drink. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of Quina Lillet. Shake it very well until it's ice cold, and then add a large thin slice of lemon peel. Got it.
Yep. That is it.
So measures being obviously an ounce in today's standards, I would say.
back then it was a gallon.
They call it the Costco pour.
I took a sip off recording, and it wouldn't have made the show anyways because I was hacking up along.
It absolutely would have made the show. We all would have
the
pushed
audio would have
for
been
it.
clipping. It would have been awful.
Oh.
No one would have liked it.
Everyone would have enjoyed the response.
Something I don't think we talk about enough in reference to James Bond is his clear alcoholism. If you've ever had one of these cocktails, it's clear this man is a raging alcoholic.
I mean, they talk about that in this movie that we'll get to.
It's not enough.
They do talk about the fact that he's an alcoholic and is addicted to painkillers.
It's not enough. Nobody drinks 4 shots of something with a lemon peel in it and calls it a cocktail.
Right. I don't even know what to call this. I mean, that's not true because is an old
you're
fashioned
right.
a cocktail?
It's not
literally the
right,
old
yeah.
fashioned cocktail, right?
I believe it's 4.5 because isn't there also a half ounce of the leg?
Of like a vermouth, basically, like a.
Yes. So 4.5 ounces of alcohol.
I mean,
it's better than the Goodfella, which was just all
straight
alcohol. There was nothing even remotely non-alcohol in it.
So I'm gonna be honest here. Like we did, I think, a martini already. We've done a few variations on martinis.
I wasn't here for it, but I know you guys did a martini when you did.
No, we did a
first
Moscow
James Bond
Mule.
movie.
No, we
when we
did.
did From Russia with the Love.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
Yes,
because it was the Russia
because we were
thing.
saving the martini, sort of. And so this is
We've
the
done
other
it one
Bond
before.
cocktail,
Oh, you know what it was? It was the Jack Nicholson. That's what it was. Right?
The Robert De Niro.
Oh,
Oh,
De Niro.
yeah,
Robert
That's what it
De
was.
Niro.
De Niro. Yeah.
It was Taxi
For
Driver.
Taxi Driver.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that was pretty much
has
like
there's a
straight
martini
martini.
he drinks.
Was
That's
that
also
when
bad.
You soaked the lemon peels, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
It
I
was
gotta
some
be
sort of-
honest. I don't know what I'm gonna do with most of a bottle of Lillet Blanc, because this is a rough drink to drink. This is rough.
I mean,
You make a bunch of them, and then you just have one really, really good night and one really, really bad day after.
Where you save the world.
I mean, just put it in your fridge and use it as a Blanc vermouth whenever you make
Yeah.
something that requires that.
Yeah,
or just,
for all my vermouth.
like Zach said, pound them continuously and have no one at MI6 talk about your alcohol problem.
or you won't make it to the end of the podcast and you'll just fall off your chair and someone will find you the next day.
Someone will send a text to your friends at 2 a.m.
my God.
apologizing.
The comment on liquor.com says, doesn't take much to get drunk on this 4.5 ounces of booze. Wife and I each had 2 glasses and got plastered.
I mean, that's 8 shots, essentially, you know? Like, that's a lot.
What was the time frame? That's what I want to know.
Bond had 6 of those bad boys on Quantum of Solace.
I don't know if that... Did he really? I don't remember that.
He was at the bar, and they were asking him on the plane, he was like, what do you want? And he's like, I'll have another one of these. How many have you had? This is number 6.
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to be honest. So, we've done the other things. This was like the next Bond cocktail.
Yeah.
To be honest, just pass. It
Look,
is not bueno.
If this is what it takes to be a 00 secret agent, I don't have the metal for it. Just going to say it.
So here's the secret. I had to Randall this one because I didn't have Lillet. But it said, the recipe Dylan sent said aperitif. And I had Aperol. So I substituted it. Let me tell you, this shit slaps hard. It's fucking tasty.
We found
It sounds like we're
it.
having 2 different cocktail experiences. With
Give it
like
a shot. Give it a
different
shot
half
and
ounce
get
of
back
liquor.
to me and be like, wow, that half ounce of liquor, man, Ben, you were right. It makes it sweeter and so much more bearable and not taste disgusting.
You could make a Vesper Martini. The show notes will have the recipe and some links to Drizzly and Caskers where you can get some gin, some vodka, some Lillet Blanc delivered directly to your door. And then go watch Skyfall. It's on Hulu as of recording. And you can get ready for No Time to Die.
That is it. No Time to Die, the 25th James Bond movie.
They always have like those crafty titles, you know, like
I love this
Goldfinger.
title. It's just so, like, vintage Bond. I don't know.
Not just the title, but the title card.
Yes. Everything
the
about their
posters,
advertising has been vintage Bond.
So,
it's awesome.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with him like in the pose with like the gun barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Ugh.
I'm hyped. I'm hyped for this movie.
Oh yeah. I already ordered tickets. I'm going to see it Thursday. It comes out. So I'm gonna report back. See if it's good.
I'm not that hardcore, but I will go see it. What day is that?
I don't
like
know.
the
boys,
first week
buddy.
of October.
October 8th.
Yeah. Skyfall is a 2012 spy action adventure thriller. Currently sits at a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Directed by Sam Mendes. Written by Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, John Logan. Starred Daniel Craig, Javier Bardem, Naomi Harris, Judi Dench. I'm going to butcher his name. Ralph Fiennes.
Rafe Fiennes, I think.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Rafe? Not Ralph? That's definitely Ralph.
It's
Yeah,
Ralph.
but he's European.
I think it's Finney's.
Ben Whishaw as Q, my boy Paddington Bear.
I'm looking
So
up how
it
to say
is-
Ralph.
It is Rafe.
What?
It's Rafe?
Suck it, bitches.
Somebody
Learn
tell
how to
that guy
pronounce
he's
people from
pronouncing it.
Europe.
Real?
And it's
he's
Finney's.
English, right?
He's an English actor. Yep.
Rafe
Weird.
Finney's.
What is like? Where's like his origin?
Yeah. I mean, whoa. His full name is Rafe, I guess. Nathaniel Twistleton Wycombe Fiennes.
That's a
His
few
name is
names.
long as shit.
He's English, Irish, and Scottish origin, so it must be like
Must be
either
a Scottish
Scottish or
thing.
Irish that like
It's probably Scottish, would be my guess.
yeah brings in that interesting pronunciation of words. Also shot by my boy Roger Deakins, which man, this movie is just like Roger Deakins is just like showing off.
Yeah.
Like the cinematography is gorgeous. That was the highlight of the film for me. That whole scene where he's on the like that skyscraper in, is it Shanghai?
Yep. With all the lights, with all the
Yes, and there's like that
advertisements.
billboard across the way,
Yeah.
like doing the
Yeah.
the LED screen.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, what is this? Fighting in silhouette. Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, it was very cool.
All the natural light, like every fucking light in the movie, you could see it in the frame. Like it's all practicals.
Yeah.
Man, love Deeks. It won 2 Oscars. Best Achievement in Music written for motion picture for Skyfall by Adele, which
That makes sense.
Straight
It's a
banger.
banger. It's
Slaps.
definitely a top 3 James Bond theme.
Oh, it's.
wow. I would say
I mean,
it's-
I don't
It's
know.
got to be up there.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's like the best, but it is like top 3 for sure.
I would
like,
say it's better than. Didn't Sam Smith do the?
well, okay, I'm not
Spectre
talking
one.
about that, but like Paul McCartney and Wings did "Live and Let Die," and that's a banger. Obviously, Adele did this.
Cam's waiting for the Billie Eilish one.
No, it wasn't that Spectre was Billie Eilish, or was that Sam
No,
Smith?
it's this
Billie
one.
Eilish is doing No Time to Die.
Oh,
Sam Smith, I
okay.
think,
She
is
wasn't.
Spectre.
She wasn't out. I don't think when Spectre came.
Yeah, I think Gladys Knight did "License to Kill," which I don't remember, but would probably be good. Duran Duran did "A View to a Kill." I'm just saying there have been some. Tina Turner did "Goldeneye." I'm just saying there have been some really good Bond themes throughout the years. You know.
It also won
Apparently-
Best Achievement in Sound Editing.
Let's see.
It tied with Zero Dark 30, I guess.
What? Weird.
And it was nominated for Best Achievement in Cinematography for Roger Deakins, Best Achievement in Music written for motion pictures, original score, and Best Achievement in Sound Mixing.
Also, if you're curious, or if you like Kanye West music, Dylan, you can mute yourself. Kanye West sampled a James Bond song, "Diamonds Are Forever," on one of his other songs with Jay-Z, I think. So there have been the Bond music has just been pretty influential.
So what won? What won the year that this movie was nominated for the cinematography stuff?
This would have been in 2012.
Life of
That's
Pi.
helpful. Okay, fuck off.
I don't know. I think this movie should have won it. This movie's
Wasn't Life of
cinematography,
Pi, like all CGI,
A
Yeah.
lot of it.
a lot of it was. I'm just saying.
except for the tiger.
I don't know if
most
a lot
of
of
this, the shots in this movie are fucking gorgeous.
Right.
Like from
And
the jump.
And I know it's not in the same category as cinematography, but they built that entire house just to blow it up and use it later. You know, like they built that to blow it up, like in the English countryside. And so that was all real. Like it wasn't no CGI or anything. That was literally just like on fire.
Yeah, they really murdered dudes with screws.
They really
screwed
killed
into
them.
light
They
bulbs.
really okay.
It was
obviously
real
that-
shotgun shell.
Dude checks in with his agent. What does it say in my contract?
Oh, you just have to take some screws to the foot. That's all.
And face.
Also, you have to take some shrapnel from chandeliers. That'll be fun for you.
Skyfall really had to put a bunch of money on this insurance policy, and they were kind of hoping the movie would just bomb so the insurance would pay out a ton and they'd never have to worry about it. MGM really fucked up.
I hadn't seen this movie before. Zach, you hadn't seen this?
No, this was the first Daniel Craig James Bond movie I've seen.
Wow.
And the other two are like
Started off
Bond
with a good one.
aficionados, apparently.
Well, I think aficionado's a
That's
bit of a stretch for me,
lot,
but
yeah, I've seen a lot of them. I've seen
yeah.
some of them, and I know more about the movies. Like I haven't seen a lot of the middle ones with like Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, but I know a fair amount of the
Timothy
more-
Chalamet.
He was just M1, right? He was only M1?
Who?
Timothy
Dalton?
Dalton?
He was in 2.
no. Timothy Dalton
Oh.
was in 2. George Lazenby was in 1.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to watch the old ones with my dad.
Because, like,
so I've probably
basically,
seen most of those.
if I remember correctly, it was Sean Connery and then Lazenby, and then they had Sean Connery come back again after Lazenby. And then they had Roger Moore, then Timothy Dalton, then Pierce, then Daniel.
Roger Moore, great James Bond, but it got creepy when he looked super old, and the
And all
women
the Bond
did
girls
not get
are like-
older.
Yeah.
And it was like, this dude looks like these women's grandpa, and he's about to try and bang him on a yacht. So maybe this is getting to the creepy point.
That's what
I
he
mean,
loves
Daniel's
about
getting
James
there.
Bond movies. He gets older, but they stay the same age.
Daniel
Yes,
is
but
getting up there in age. He's
Daniel's
getting
getting up there, but he's also walking away after this last one.
Right. They've also scaled back on the creep factor for sure
Mm-hmm.
in the Craig movies.
For
There's a lot
sure.
more consent in these movies than in previous ones.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not so much that, like, I don't know, like, you obviously know the Bond girl's coming, and in this one, it was like a super quick thing, and I was like, okay, all right, and then she's like immediately shot in the forehead.
Also, she didn't have some weird hypersexual name like Pussy Galore.
Dude, I've seen From Russia with Love and Spectre. Those are my 2 Bond movies I've seen, and this now.
Well, those are
I
good
don't like
ones.
James Bond. I'm
Pussy
like,
suck.
I'm gonna like. It's just not. It's not for me, man.
I think you should give Casino Royale a shot. The new one.
I've seen the chair
it be.
scene. I know like that bit, but it's like
that's not my favorite
that's
part of the movie.
like the worst part of the fucking movie.
That also happens like
okay.
the movie. The
movie's
chair,
like
the
I'm
chair
not-
scene where he's
I'm not
getting
shitting
whipped
on the
in
rest of the
balls
movie.
really sets.
the movie's like also 2 hours
sets the
long, and that's
tone.
like at the like hour 40 mark.
Okay.
It's like,
Bernard is in it from Westworld.
Like that's like near the end of the movie, you know?
Yes.
Like that's mostly not the movie.
Okay, but I'm not saying like, oh, I don't need to watch the movie because I've seen the chair scene. I'm just saying I've seen enough Bond in those 3 movies to not like what it is.
I don't know.
It's literally just the same fucking
guess.
formula every time,
No.
and I'm
No.
over it.
Boo. Wrong. This
He's got
particular
plot
movie-
armor for fucking days.
Yeah,
He's
can
gonna
we get
drink
into
some
that?
fucking martinis. He's gonna bang anything with a vagina, and then
James Bond dies twice in the
the-
first 20 minutes of this movie.
and then
What do you
the
mean
guy's
die-
gonna
he only
capture
dies
him,
once.
give
Full
his
on
big
dead.
speech. He's gonna give his whole speech about like I'm a villain because mother was mean to us and I was expendable to her, so I'm gonna come get her. And then Bond gets
literally
fucking
this-
out of there
that's like
instantly.
this
like,
movie and maybe one other.
dude,
give
this
you
is
that there's
where
one other
that
one.
that trope is literally from James Bond. Like
Oh,
I'm
the
gonna explain my
villain
entire evil
monologue?
plot, and you're gonna get away right after this. Like that is a
There's a
James
couple-
Bond trope.
There's a few like formulaic things you could say about James Bond. I don't think they're what you said. I would go with more like it's gonna be like a cold open and then a 10-minute car chase, and then we're gonna
Then a
get the
10-minute
intro.
intro song, and then
Well, the songs are usually good.
That's not true. Casino Royale starts with no, that's not Casino Royale. Which one? There's a James Bond movie that actually starts with driving.
I think that's Spectre.
No, maybe Spectre does, but there's another one. There's a Pierce Brosnan movie that starts.
It's
in the,
oh my god, the one that came out with Halle Berry in it. It was his.
Is it
like,
that
last
one?
Diamonds
Die
Are Forever.
Another Day.
Die Another Day is the
Oh, Die
is the
Another
Halle
Day.
Berry one. It's a one
I
where
remember
he's
that
like
one has a
driving in
bunch
a
of
red.
cars.
I thought it was older than that, but maybe it's
It
that
might
one.
be. Oh no, Goldeneye starts with him driving in the red car.
Yeah, it's that one. I think it's Goldeneye because he drives with a
No,
woman in a
Tomorrow-
red car
or-
and freaks her out.
Yeah,
like while he's
Tomorrow
driving
Never-
because he's driving it erratically.
Tomorrow Never Dies also has a bunch of cars, but that's because it came out right around Fast and Furious, and they really wanted to capitalize on that.
To be fair, I love the Bond cars. Like one of my favorite video games as a kid was literally it was a James Bond racing / like demo game. Like it was literally like you didn't play as the spy. You played as like I guess you played as him, but he was driving his car.
It was Cars, the video
It was an
game.
anthropomorphic car. No, but you would drive his car, and it had all the gadgets. You know, it had the guns and the oil slicks, and it was sweet. It was an
It
awesome
was like
game. I loved
Twisted
it.
Metal, but
It,
think
you
I
know,
know
it
what you're
actually
talking
kind of. It
about.
wasn't so much the arena vibe as Twisted Metal, but it was kind of like in that vein where you'd be escaping or chasing set down someone or whatever, and you'd use your
sounds so
guns and
familiar.
gadgets.
I feel like I played that game too.
It's on PlayStation 1.
Yeah. So this one is where James Bond fights the bad guy from No Country for Old Men.
Yep.
yes.
That's how you remember this one.
Yep. I didn't recognize him at first, and then I looked it up later, and I was like, "Oh, that is the same guy." Granted, I've never seen that movie, but I do know what he looks like.
yeah,
Good
but
movie.
he's definitely a lot different in this movie than
Well,
he
of
is.
course,
He talks a little bit more.
I love his.
he's got that weird fucking prosthetic he pulls out of his mouth.
That was so gross.
That was disgusting.
It was like it had to be partly faked because like
Well, of course, like
Well, that was
because
all
it had the
CG,
metal
yeah.
plate
yeah,
to like
like,
lift up.
when he pulls his
Well,
jaw
no.
down, it like gets
Another
like a little,
fucked up
You can
contract.
see
Yeah, we're
his
gonna draw you.
CG on his face.
We have
You
to
can
take
see,
out
like, the
part of
digital
your
painting.
cheekbone actually for this movie. Is that okay? We'll put it back after.
Okay, I understand.
I'm just
saying-
doing a call. We're doing a callback to Zach's earlier fucked up contracts where someone has to literally get like shrapnel put in them, blasted in them.
Dude looks like Rami Malek playing Freddie Mercury with them fake ass teeth.
Oh man.
just the weirdest looking Bond villain though. I feel like
Oh,
like
I know.
with like the bleached
yeah.
blonde hair, and
He
like,
looks odd.
and he's like very like
Bleach blonde
soft
hair,
spoken.
but not a thick Eastern European accent. That's what makes this one different.
That's true. A lot of the Bond, especially in like the 90s and 80s, a lot of Eastern European people.
Well, let's be fair. In the 80s, every villain.
yeah,
was
yeah.
pretty
I mean,
much
I'm not
Eastern
saying
European.
I'm not saying
Hans
that's
Gruber.
specifically Bond. Yeah, like, but even in the 90s, there was a lot of that.
Well, so last week, Ben had his little thing about how it was interesting that Catch Me If You Can was the anti-Rudy. I found it interesting that this week we got another story about rats. Because in Catch Me If You Can, 2 rats fall in a bucket of milk and one churns its way out.
Oh yeah,
And
that's
I'm that rat. And in this one, Javier Bardem tells the story of an island infested with rats. And basically you get the rats to eat each other.
Yeah.
And
then the 2 rats that are left
Until
just go eat rat.
Yep. And then they're like, they're basically like barn cats, but rats. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fucked up.
I thought that was an interesting parallel, I guess.
That is, yeah, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know how I felt about that villain in particular. It's interesting because one of the things about this movie that for me it stands out as opposed to other movies is there's a lot of focus on James Bond's relationship with M, who most of the time does not focus on James Bond's long-lasting relationships in any of the movies. You know, like he's very, for the most part, I think it comes with the bravado and his, the fact that he likes to like sleep with a lot of people. It doesn't really focus on his relationships. And in this one, it's actually, there's a lot of emphasis, which I find really interesting, on M and James Bond and their relationship, to each other, which I think was really cool to see. And then when I was looking up trivia for this, one of the interesting things is Judi Dench has more screen time in this movie alone than, I don't know, I'm going to butcher this name, but Desmond Llewellyn, who played 17 movies as Q. She had more screen time in this movie alone than any of, like, combined of his 17 movies, which makes
Q
her...
or M?
He was Q. He was the quartermaster.
Yeah, he was the original Q.
Yep.
And he tragically, I think, passed.
He died, and then
right as they were making a movie.
I don't remember because they had John Cleese play Q later.
Yes.
Who is very similar in type. Old British white dude.
I don't want to search Q actor because I'm worried I'm going to get a bunch of.
But yeah, it's Desmond Llewellyn, and then my guess is John Cleese is right after Desmond Llewellyn.
Well, the other thing I was going to say is like it also like goes a little bit into like Bond's background of like that he was orphaned and like the whole Skyfall estate was like his family
I don't know
home and stuff.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and see if they've ever mentioned him being an orphan or when that would have happened, or I don't know, because they did reveal a lot about who he is as a person before becoming a 00 agent.
Which I think is a little bit more... it makes the character more interesting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's like, in the essence of like James Bond, it's like, oh, he's just 007. Like, he's a number in MI6. And he's like the ladies' man, will die for his country, do whatever. But then it's also interesting to like see the human aspects of this like killing machine, basically.
Yeah. I think I personally really like this movie. I mean, obviously, I do like James Bond movies, so like that's, an asterisk on it. But I think this movie does a really, really good job at making... I know you said a lot about some of the tropes, and this movie I'm sure has some of those. James Bond doesn't get shot very much, across any of them, really. And this one he actually does, twice, which is interesting. But
I need something explained to me about that, by the way.
Everybody's bad at shooting except for him.
There's
nothing.
No.
Oh, about the death? We'll talk about how he didn't die later. From that fall.
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah, and so I think this movie does a really good job at making a fresh James Bond movie that does some different things, but adds a lot of like homage to older James Bond movies. Like you have where he's giving him when he's giving him the gadgets.
Yeah, he said we don't have
And he's
exploding
like-
pens.
Right. That's a GoldenEye reference. He's like, "Oh, we don't really go for the exploding pens anymore."
Is Moneypenny? Moneypenny?
Moneypenny.
That's a
Yep,
a
Moneypenny.
callback.
So
Moneypenny.
this is the movie they introduced Moneypenny. This is the movie where they establish a new M, they establish a Q, and man, when he pulled out the DB5, like when they got to that like barn or whatever, I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. Like it's just such a beautiful car.
Horrible
very
in
cool.
gas, though. Horrible.
We
That's
learned that
fine.
last week.
That's fine. It's just such a like the
2 weeks
DB5
ago.
is such a pretty car.
That
It's
was last week.
man.
Did they basically decide Casino Royale was a reboot to the lore? Because they kept M from Judi Dench from movies previously, but now they've reintroduced a new M. They've brought in Moneypenny, who was already a character, or is
Yeah.
it just supposed to be that like it's just coincidence that she has the same?
No,
name?
I think it is a soft reboot. I think Casino Royale is meant to be a soft reboot. In Casino Royale, he's not as an experience like we kind of see him go through an arc where in Casino Royale he's not a very experienced agent yet. Like I don't even know if in the beginning of the movie he has 00 status yet.
That's how the movie opens. He gets 00 status with his second kill.
Yeah.
That's that cold open.
Right.
Okay.
And so like he starts fresh. But in Skyfall, he's more of an experienced agent who's trying to learn all these new things. And you know, there's a whole like theme throughout the whole movie a lot of the time where it's like sometimes the old things work, you know? So in this movie he's already pretty experienced agent because you know, they're talking about maybe you should have just stayed dead, you know? Not many people get out this clean. We're trying to teach you new things. You failed your physicals, like all this stuff. And so that's, yeah, I think yes, they kept, I think it's very similar to how Suicide Squad's kind of a reboot. Like they kept some of the same actors, but it's not really a continuation of previous stories.
Well, here's the thing I always thought, having not seen many James Bonds, I always thought it was like James Bond is 007 and it was just somebody else taking over the role of James Bond. Like we may change like actors, but that's like James.
That's
Like
your
I
job.
always
No,
thought
I
James
think-
Bond was this person or like that agent, not like that person's actual name. But
No, I think it's to be interpreted where the 00 moniker is potentially
agent.
fungible,
and then
but then that is his name.
they're
is
all
James
playing
Bond.
James Bond, like the human.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I mean,
I'm saying
they-
he is he is
Yeah,
the name.
yes.
Like,
he is the person.
Yeah.
Double
James
when they
Bond's
do
the
deals,
person,
they,
like agent.
but
when
there
they-
could be a different 007, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
That is
Oh,
not James
but-
Bond.
but the actual Daniel Craig's character's name is James Bond because when she goes to write the obituary, she writes it for Commander James Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like James Bond is a square, but 007 could be a rectangle.
So
No,
I
no,
think
no.
what Dylan's alluding
No,
to
I think
is
it's the other way around.
like Bruce Wayne is Batman, but like
Anyone could be Batman.
Yeah.
anyone. So like Batman, I guess, or if someone were just like I'm Bruce Wayne,
Maybe Robin's a
and
better
Batman.
example.
Yeah,
Because lots of
actually-
people have had the Robin name, but it's
Yeah.
been different
Yes.
people.
Like I was alluding to like James Bond is like Robin, you know, where it's like there's
I don't
4
think
different
so,
people
though.
that play Robin and Batman. But like
I don't think so. I think in the novels it's all supposed to be. Well, I
It's
could be
all
wrong,
supposed to
but
be
I think it's supposed to be
James.
one dude. Yeah,
okay. That-
I could be wrong,
that-
but
that
I
makes
think
sense.
that's
I don't
right.
know. That's just
In
what
the,
I always
in the
thought it
00
was.
status, like I don't know about the 00 status that much. I think someone else could be 007 if he retires or something like that, but I could be wrong in that too, or dies. So like in the future, they could make a new 007 that's not James Bond that they give to a different actor. Like if they wanted to continue the franchise without James Bond, which I don't know how well that would go over with the diehard James Bond crew, but
I think that's been one of the big conversations about introducing like a female lead or casting someone like a male actor of color to play the character is like people have thrown fits about like how do you
Yeah.
explain that James Bond's now black? It's like, well, you just like
yeah.
he's not James Bond, he's just 007, or like Dylan has alluded to, James Bond is just basically the alias that you assume when you become that agent.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of ways to do it. Daniel Craig has been in a lot of clickbaity titles recently about this, and if you actually read it, I actually like what he says. Is he basically says something to that effect where he's like, I don't necessarily know. I think you should make characters specific for women. I think it was especially on the topic of women playing James Bond. And he was like, I think you should actually just make better characters for women rather than like gender bending existing characters.
Give me a whole Moneypenny movie, dude. She seemed like a badass, even though she
is, yeah.
Bond in the chest.
Can we talk about it yet?
No, we're almost there.
I will. Okay, actually, you know what? We're gonna skip past it because it's a giant conversation I don't want to get into about, especially in terms of like comic books and that in that realm of media, about the ideology of creating new characters versus altering existing characters, because it's a whole spiel and a whole big
like
ordeal
I do think they could make a 007 that's not named James Bond that could be played by a woman. I think making James Bond a person of color would be a less, well, I don't want to say less controversial change because I'm sure people will have their panties in a twist, but I think that would be a more like, you know, a more or less acceptable change because it's like, you know, it's still the same type of person. It's just different skin color. But I do think there's parts of James Bond's character that are like would be maybe against being a woman. I don't know. And I think that, well, I'm just saying, I think they could make a character that would be better suited as a woman than just like
what if they went even harder into the womanizer aspect and casted a woman as James Bond?
That would be interesting.
I get it's a big aspect of our world today. This movie doesn't do too bad of a job. I hate movies with like hacking scenes. Or like,
oh yes,
like when Q is like going through the like hard drive or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like
whole,
all these
weird,
like twisty
like,
things, and he's like, "Ooh, I see this and this," and then they like see some weird letter code like, on the side of the screen. That was a subway station. It's like,
yeah, it is hard because I do feel like there's no cinematic way to show a hacking scene ever.
Show me a sweaty neckbeard in his basement writing code.
Show me a neckbeard on a terminal window. That's pretty much what you would be looking at, you know.
So are you guys saying you want like
I want Cartman from the World of Warcraft South Park episode.
I mean,
you want the Die Hard version, which is just Kevin Smith in a basement.
I mean, that's what it would be.
He played the hacker in one of the Die Hard.
Oh, really? That's funny.
A Good Day to Die Hard, or whatever the one before that was, the one that came out with Justin Long in it. And Kevin Smith. Oh. Kevin Smith plays the hacker in the basement.
Oh, that's funny.
And
I mean,
that
that's
basically describes
like
what
I said,
you're asking
there's
for.
not really a cinematic way to show that. Which, yeah, I did to cringe a little bit at that part as well because I was like, this is, yeah, I have that same thing. Like there's a very infamous scene in NCIS where
oh god,
they're hacking.
They're just randomly clicking letters.
Well, they're hacking, and she's like, I can't get him out, and she's like, do you want me to help you? And she's like, yes. And so what do? They one person takes over one half of the keyboard, and the other person takes the other half of the keyboard, and then they both are typing on their respective halves of the keyboard at the same time. And then everything goes black, and they're like, what just happened? And then the main dude comes up and is like, yeah, I just unplugged it or whatever. It's like, oh my god, what an awful scene for like a
and you know what the worst? You know what the worst part is? Is a bunch of old people that got hacked were just like, I know, now that they're already into everything, I can just turn the computer off and it's all better. Because NCIS told me so.
That's how it works. If you turn off your personal computer, your network's safe. It's fine.
Whenever something has to be, like, whenever something is done subtly, like a subtle action, but they have to take 4 minutes to make the scene and over-explain it, it's just a recipe for cringe. In Casino Royale, they do the same thing, but they're explaining cards. They're not explaining hacking. It's like, oh, they checked. That means they don't have to bet until they go around the table and somebody decides to bet.
Here's how we play poker.
It's like,
anything where they have to explain something like, I know it's not strictly technical, but some kind of technical thing to the audience in it's so hard to do that, I imagine, in
I get that you
any
have
kind
to
of fluid
because,
way. Because otherwise, people won't know.
If you don't, people are confused. They're like, what the hell's happening?
Right. It's like if someone hasn't played poker before, they're not going to understand what the hell they're looking at. Especially because like that movie is literally like 1/3 poker.
Can somebody explain to me how James Bond got killed
All
twice
right.
at the beginning?
Okay, we can talk about the death.
So here's my thing on this.
Let's talk about the death.
I think he got the shot in the chest from the guy on the train.
Yep. That's
and
right.
I think when Moneypenny shot, I don't think he was hit.
No, I think he was.
He just happened to
How would he
fall
not
off
get
the
knocked
train
off?
at the same time.
But where?
No, because they mention a couple times, like they have that, and this is classic Bond, but they have that like kind of flirtatious like back and forth about how she shot him. You know,
Yeah, it's super weird.
But where was the
but
bullet?
that's the
Where was
rapport
the
between them.
wound?
They're always flirtatious, but they don't. They never really do.
All he
anything.
said was, like, you hit a couple non-vital organs and broke 4 ribs. No big deal.
So I think he did get shot in the chest. Like, or sorry, in the because up here is when he gets it out with the knife and he has them analyze it.
Yeah.
But I think
The
he gets shot in the
radioactive
stomach.
bullet, by the way.
Yeah.
The
Let's
cancer
not forget
bullet.
that he had for a while in his body. And he fell off the train, landed head first into the water. 0%
when we were watching
chance
that-
of survival.
Yeah, when we were watching that, Mona was like, "At least he landed in water," and I was like, "Have you ever hit water from that high? It's cement. Like, there's no
mean,
way."
Also,
Depending
that was
on the way you
stream.
hit it.
That was like,
I mean, I guess, but he hit
But
it
also
straight
depending
with
on
his
the height.
head.
If you hit it from like a point, like that you can break.
yeah, if you
usually the one is like
shatter
a
your
fist.
legs.
I don't
So like
know.
you can kind of
You wouldn't
break
die from
through
that height.
to break
Yeah,
the
you would.
plane.
It was
If
a
you hit
fall.
it
It was
flat,
far.
People survive the Golden Gate Bridge
That's
all the time.
true.
Yeah,
Some people do.
some
Some
of
people
them.
don't.
It's like a big deal when they do.
Yeah. Also, the other
miracle when
thing
It's
they
like
do.
is,
literally like
I
5%
feel like
of people
I
survive
feel like,
the Golden Gate Bridge.
but I feel like but those people are conscious.
Not a lot, Dylan.
That's not a lot, and those people are conscious. When James Bond falls off the train, he is unconscious,
shot
falling
twice.
towards cement, and he's been shot twice.
Once with a radioactive bullet.
Oh, no, it's because when he fell into the water, he got saved by that giant hand that pulled him, And from the credit scene in the beginning, they pulled him down.
Yeah, pulled him further into the water into
No,
like,
I
the
think-
Sam vagina. Yeah, definitely saved his life.
We're gonna hit up some ads. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do some trivia. You know we love saving the turts. You know Cam hates fucking paper straws.
Paper straw song.
Sock.
I will say that paper straw technology has improved since I last shat on paper straws. I have used a couple since I've been able to go out more recently due to being vaccinated, and
That's what they were doing the whole time while we were inside. They were just inventing better paper straws.
I have seen also not paper straws, but it seems like they're compostable plastic straws or something. Like
You're talking about the
they
ones that
feel
are made out of
different.
like agave or whatever.
I have no idea what the composition of these straws are. I'm just, but they are different.
I'm not
than
a
the
straw
normal ones you
expert.
see. But you're the expert, Dylan.
But I do know a good glass straw when I see one,
Yes. I will say for being at home and where maybe you like straws in your fruity margaritas or you like straws to mix with your, old fashions or whatever, having these straws around the home is really nice. No, not constantly like throwing things away, or you don't have to keep buying straws all the time. Like you just buy a couple and then you're good.
And if you want cocktail picks or muddlers, they have that too. There's many colors. He's getting into like designs. So like the pride flag, he puts it on like the side of the straw. He's got hearts. He's got critters. It's like you get a piece of art along with a straw. Little multi-use.
Oh yeah, he has critter straws, which see a dolphin, a salamander. That salamander looks intricate. That is impressive.
Grab some glass straws from Surfside Sips. Use promo code cocktails and classics spelled out for 20% off. We get a little kickback from that, and you get to save some money on some glass straws, and they should last you a long time. Dishwasher safe. They're pretty sturdy. Just don't drop them on the floor like me, like a big idiot. You have to buy more.
So anyway, in this part of the episode, Zach takes over, runs
But
us
he's
through
not.
a trivia gauntlet, but curveball.
I really strap you down into a chair and beat the hell out of your balls with a rolled up rope.
No, we need to put in a record scratch.
The curveball is I'm doing it this week.
This time Cam's gonna itch my balls with a rolled up rope.
Let's get into this. So, first question for you guys. We know that James Bond likes Aston Martin cars. How many different types of Aston Martin cars have appeared in throughout all the Bond films? At least up to this movie. Maybe even in Spectre. I'm not sure.
24.
No, different types. So
Yeah.
the answers, your choices.
Movies.
Oh, your answers are 4 different types, 6 different types, or 8 different types.
I know the answer.
Okay. I'll give you a bonus point if you can name all of them.
I can do that too.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, well, we talked about 3 last week. I'm gonna go with the highest number, I think.
8?
Yes.
Okay.
Why, I do not know. I just think maybe some of the newer ones, they were like a villain was also driving an Aston Martin or something. I don't know.
To get back at Bond.
Yeah, it's to spite him.
I'm gonna say 4.
The answer's 6.
Zach is correct. The answer is 6. Zach, how many of them can you name?
The DB5, the
V8.
the 9, the 10, the 12.
So it's the DB5, the DBS, the V8, the V12 Vanquish, the DBS V12, and then the DB10. And as a fun bonus fact for you guys,
I don't want that.
the next No Time to Die will be the first movie to have 4 different Aston Martins in it.
Wow, going out with a bang.
Yeah.
This sounds like Kerry Fukunaga is like a fucking Bond stan. So this is like
Yes.
his like time to just go.
Oh man,
ham.
I hope so.
Well, it's No Time to Die on it.
Ooh.
Okay.
Do you guys want to hear a secret about that answer?
Sure.
I did not know the answer. I just picked the ones you guys didn't choose.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I
Well,
doubt that.
I figured you might have known since you had a question about it a couple weeks ago. So I didn't doubt that you knew it.
Have I won yet?
All right.
Yes, you have.
Next question. I have a funny way to phrase this question, but I don't want to say it that way. Because I don't want to get canceled. So. No, okay, all right. So the next question is we know that James Bond has a lot of sex and that many actors have played James Bond. However, which of the actors that played James Bond has slept with the most amount of women?
Can I give you the answer now?
So, no. So, the way I wanted to phrase it was which James Bond was most likely to have an STI, but I thought that was a little bit too far. It wasn't that bad, but. So anyway, the answers are Roger Moore, Sean Connery, or Pierce Brosnan.
Sean Connery.
Which one had the most sex? Or I should say sex with the most number of partners.
Sean Connery.
Okay.
I know we talked about it last time
I
that
was
you'd
gonna
have to
say.
listen to his accent, and it would like turn you off. But no, I think it's him
I was gonna say Sean
because
Connery too.
he was Bond the longest, right?
2 of them.
I'm not going to answer that question.
Sean
until
Connery and one other dude each did 7 movies.
For the sake of hoping to try and not let Zach win, I'm gonna say Roger Moore. Yeah, even though Sean Connery, had pussy galore,
Pusher galore.
I think Roger Moore might be the winner here.
All right, so I have the numbers here. Sean Connery, over the course of 6 films, had sex with 15 different women.
I thought he did 7.
What?
What?
I thought he did 7 movies.
Roger Moore, over the course of 7 films, has slept with 19 women across those 7 films, making him the
Sluttiest.
most likely to have an
The
STI.
sluttiest Bond.
No, it makes him. He is the one with the highest number of.
Dude, there were so many movies that he was just hooking up with like 4 women a movie, and it's just like, what is going? Is he writing these too? Like, what is he doing?
I will say I do wanna do a shout out to Pierce Brosnan though. He did have 4 films and he slept with 10 people across those 4. So per movie, He's probably the high. He's the highest.
sluttiest per movie.
I would think so, because Daniel Craig, I mean, you look at Skyfall, and he only slept with one person.
Daniel Craig has 6 women in 4 films.
He did flirt a lot with Moneypenny, though.
Yeah.
Oh, in Skyfall?
Yeah, but they never did anything.
Yeah.
They never did anything, though.
No.
But he did. So for across
Bond
his
slept with that
4
chick who,
so
like,
far.
immediately got shot in the head right after.
Oh.
But that could change.
Well, that was the girl I was talking about, but then I forgot the girl on the island.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
You think they banged in that shower before they were captured?
Yeah, for sure.
When he was doing that scorpion, yeah. When he was doing that
Yeah, the scorpion.
Oh,
We didn't even talk about that stupid scene.
All right. So we have it tied. Ben and Zach both have a point here.
Let's get a 3-way tie real quick.
We mentioned that James Bond is pretty bulletproof. He doesn't really get shot often, as I said earlier. However, it's actually way more specific than that. There's actually only one movie other than this in which he has, prior to it, in which he was shot. So which movie was that? Was it Live and Let Die, Moonraker, or Thunderball?
It's Thunderball.
Any reason?
I feel like I remember him being in the wetsuit and he got shot underwater.
Interesting.
He was like, he had like a
Okay.
spear gun, and I feel like some dude shot him with an MP5.
All right.
Or maybe I made all
Interesting.
Oh.
that up.
Sounds like a video game sequence, but all right.
Yeah.
Dylan?
Feels like something in Call of Duty. I'm going to let Ben go because he also has a point.
Oh, sure. Okay. That's fine.
Wow, 24 movies, James Bond has been shot twice. Or in 2 of them, I
Yeah.
guess. Who knows
Yeah,
if he
and
got
He's
shot
been shot
twice in
at
this
a
one.
lot. He's been shot at a lot, by the way. Only been shot
Oh
twice.
man, dodges
He's been
bullets.
blown up a few times, but only shot
God.
twice.
I'm really mad because I also think it's Thunderball, but I don't know whether or not to just lock that in.
feel like you
or-
can
Do
picture
you
him
think
like...
it was when he was in a wetsuit with
Yeah, yeah.
You guys are making fun of Zach, but I legit think that's part of that movie.
I feel
and
like
it's
I
been
remember
spoofed so many fucking times.
He had like a bullet hole in
he
his
gets shot in the
wetsuit.
shoulder. Yeah, I think it's Thunderball.
I'm going to be sad if it is, but I feel like it's a newer idea. And isn't Live and Let Die the newest one on that list?
I mean,
Isn't that
Maybe.
a Pierce Brosnan one?
no, Live and Let Die is Roger Moore, bud.
Fuck. Dude, I don't know anything about Bond.
Fucking James Bond, bud.
Also, Thunderball's one of my
It's
favorites.
literally the song. It's the Live and Let Die is the one that fucking Paul McCartney and Wings did.
And,
you think they were
and
making
Kanye
music
West
for
and Rihanna.
Pierce Brosnan? All right, what's the answer?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Live and Let
Yeah,
Die.
one more live and let die.
So we'll say the answer I have marked down is Thunderball. So I think as long as it's marked correctly, you guys both Ben, did you also say Thunderball, right?
I did, yeah, because
All
I'm
right.
pretty sure I remember that moment.
So good job. You guys are tied going
But was I
into
right about the
end.
underwater spear gun MP5 scene?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. It was just on some trivia area that I found it on. You'd have to look it up.
God, if I dream sequence to this...
This is a dumb one, and if this doesn't work out, I'll actually find one. But in this movie is, I think, actually the first time we learn James Bond's parents' names. I want you guys to both write down what you think
Oh.
their parents' names are, and then whoever I think is the closest will win.
Oh my god.
And just as a thing, the mother's name does have 2 names, so if you're kind of close on both of those, you know, like there's 2, like they show the tombstone and it's the father's name and then the mother's name and probably her maiden name before, like in the middle. So I want you guys to write down what you think their names are, and then whoever is closest, we will go with that.
I hope somebody just writes Bond.
Mr. Bond, Mrs. Bond.
So if this goes poorly, then I'll do something else. But I think this is something that's
They
interesting.
show the dad's tombstone too right before they go into the church.
They show both. They're both on them.
It's like a
Oh, but the
duel.
dad's is on top.
It's a dual. Well, I think it's left and right. But yeah, this is, I think, one of the first, if not the first time, one of the first times we actually see his parents' names in the movies. So
All right, we're gonna fucking send it because I have no idea.
I'm just gonna guess on the mom's name.
Yep.
all right. So Zach, what do you think that their names are?
I wrote down the dad's name was Adam and the mom's name was Evelyn.
Okay, Ben.
I had the dad's name as Arthur, and the mom's name is Barbara.
Oh, this is tough. You guys were pretty close.
Was it Adam and Barbara?
No.
Arthur and Evelyn?
Zach, what was yours again?
Adam and Evelyn.
Okay.
Not a clue on the mom. Not a clue on the mom.
I'm gonna go with Zach here because E is closer to M because her name is Monique.
Whoa,
And
really?
the dad's name is Andrew, so you guys were pretty close on the A. And then it was Monique Delacroix Bond was her name. So I'm gonna give this one to Zach. He gets it
I'm dominating.
when he's not.
Not completely getting it. You won. Congratulations.
I mean,
Listen, I had a whole fever
these ones
dream
are always
about
close.
James
These
Bond
ones are
getting
always
shot.
closest without going over, and I thought I'd spice up the format a little bit. So
We need to bring
Yeah, by
back
making it
Screwball.
completely subjective.
well,
No.
It didn't have to be subjective if you were good at guessing, you loser.
Cam did the letter
I'm
distance
sorry.
real quick.
Good at guessing, says the guy who got 0 out of 3 right.
Ooh.
Maybe if you were good at
I should
guessing,
have had.
you
know
could have
what?
been
It
in
would
the
have been
final
fun.
round.
It would have been fun to have Dylan do it and then see what he did, or have Dylan do it, and whichever you guys get is closest to Dylan's. Is what wins.
Oh my god.
I call shenanigans on all
All
of
right.
it.
Anyway, Zach won this round. Congrats. I think we can move on.
Feels like a very clean win. Let's go, boys.
2 of us have seen this film. 2 of us haven't. So Cam and Ben will give us a nostalgia rating and an updated one, and then you'll get 2 fresh reviews from Zach and I.
You guys go first and hurt me, please.
Well,
Don't
I'll
be
go
gentle.
first and hurt you, I guess.
Oh no, I'm gonna mute my mic for you.
I'll go next and
I
hurt you
already
last.
feel like I've gotten shot by some sort of assassin and also one of my close allies.
But
And
do you have any?
radioactive
But
bullets?
do you have any clue where though? Are we ever gonna see it?
Bend over, I'll show you where.
You're going to pull the bullet out of your shoulder in a second. I hate James Bond. I don't know. For me, this movie was eye candy in the purest sense. Roger Deakins just shows off. Adele's song was a instant banger. Other than that, I don't know. It's a popcorn flick, but not for me. I don't know. I hate the ladies man, like, can't be killed, like, cheesiness of these films. The, like, I'm gonna explain my whole plot to you.
Just the core of what James Bond is.
Yeah, like, we've already talked about that. And to stop me from just, like, rambling on about it, it's a 5 out of 10 for me.
You must have loved the cinematography to hate the movie, but love the movie at a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the newest Blade Runner? Deakins
No.
also shot that, and it's up there with that for me. Like, it's
This is probably the best looking James Bond movie. I mean, it's the best looking one I've ever seen.
I mean, yeah, when the DP is, I think, 14-time nominated, 1-time winner for best
He's all right.
cinematography, you get good work.
He's like DiCaprio. This movie, I feel like, had 2 big problems. The biggest one, honestly, was the villain. This, like, way too well prepared. I don't know. I haven't seen this done in James Bond before, so I guess they had to do it here. There's fucking like 25 of these movies, so they had to try everything. The corny James Bond can't be killed stuff, I feel like it's a little overdone. We shouldn't show James Bond falling off, whatever, 100 feet, whatever it was from that train. Landing head, like, let him land feet first. I'll believe it. But the movie looked amazing. I mean, I liked a lot of the plot of the movie, how we got to see M more involved. That was a nice twist. Not my favorite James Bond, but I liked it enough that it inspired me to go and watch the rest of the Daniel Craig's. This is not Daniel Craig's best James Bond movie, but it's still fine. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
So going into this movie, I had it at an 8 out of 10. I'm going to leave it there. It's of James Bond movies, I feel like this movie does a lot of things well that it gives you a lot more kind of backstory into the character than most other movies do. Realistically, I think if you have just kind of the most basic knowledge about James Bond as a character, you can start with this movie, and I feel like you will come out knowing more about the character than if you watch any other James Bond movie. And not just Bond himself, but like the world, I guess, that he is in. I just think from start to finish, like Dylan said, the movie's shot gorgeously. I like kind of the trail we go on. I do think it's a little long. I think that's my one kind of deterrent from it. Like, I would just kind of cut the whole him being captured and then he plans like the perfect escape. Like, he knew exactly what was going to happen in every single millisecond. Just do something a little bit more basic. You could have saved like 20 minutes of the movie, and I feel like it would have been fine. Javier Bardem does a good job. He's believable as this kind of psycho but suave, where you could have seen him being kind of a James Bond before James was there. Overall, I really liked it. I love this movie. I'm excited to see what they do with the next one. I left it at an 8 out of 10. Give it a watch. I think it's worth it. Is it a popcorn flick? Yes. All James Bond movies are pretty much popcorn flicks. That's the whole fucking point. Not every movie needs to be some cinematic tour de force. I want to watch a movie and be entertained. I will watch
I didn't use that as a negative. I was just
I'm not
stating
saying that. No.
it's an
I'm not
But a
saying
lot
that,
of people would.
I'm not saying that directly towards what you said. I'm saying that because there's so many people that do that though. Like, oh, the Avengers? Oh, you liked that? It wasn't cinema. Fuck you. Fuck you. That movie's a fucking masterpiece, and I don't care. I don't care that I don't have to sit there and think about every little sense of mise en place and all this other shit. Sometimes I just want to be entertained, and that's what this movie does, and it does it very well.
Ben's just gonna drop that fucking intro to film mise en place on your ass real quick.
That was an intro to French cooking. That's where I got that from.
Oh, actually, yeah. Ben meant mise en scène.
Oh shit!
Mise en place is where you're cooking like
mise en scène. Mise en scène. Edit
right?
it in. Edit it in. Now I look like a dumbass after I made this really smart point. I stand by what I said. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. So Cam, what did you think about the mise en place of the film?
For me, in this movie, I, like Ben, gave it an 8 going in. However, when I first saw this movie, I don't think I fully appreciated in my opinion, the fantastic mix of new ideas and old ideas and blending them. Like this time around, I loved the old callbacks to older Bond films. Those and that theme being interwoven throughout the movie. Like Dylan said, the cinematography was excellent. Adele's theme song was really good. And I think that this one is, to me, the most emotional depth a Bond movie has ever seen in any of them. And so for that reason, I actually bumped mine up to a 9. I thought this was a fantastic Bond movie. I'm not going to go into the whole popcorn flick thing because, like I said, this is a Bond movie. You have to expect these things going in, and if you don't like it, you're not going to like it, which is fine, which is fair. But if you do like it, this is one of the best Bond movies that has ever been made, in my opinion. So I give it a 9.
If you enjoyed this, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Check the show notes. Make the Vesper Martini or don't because it's not that good. Buy some gin, vodka, Lillet Blanc from Caskers and Drizzly. Buy some straws from Surfside Sips. Check us out next week as we watch Scream to kick off spooky season. And holy crap, get ready to go to the movies. There's a bunch of big films coming.
Including No Time to Die, out October 8th.
Skyfall's on Hulu, if you want to get ready for that. And as always, watch responsibly.